Hello, team, and welcome to episode 38 of Creative English. Oops, we've done it again. Team, we will be returning to the haves, the has's, and the hads one more time this year. Some of my students asked me for a rerun. I said, wait, can't do the whole exact class again, but I can attack it from another angle. And we will be talking about the 2000s, the decade from the year 2000 to 2009. We have the 2020s. We will be in the 2030s soon. In the past, the 90s, 80s, and 70s. But we don't have a good way to talk about that decade from 2000 to 2009. So when I say the 2000s with that S sound, that's what I'm talking about. And we will be using it as a reference specifically for this guy right here, had. So, team, time for some nostalgia and some English. So, first of all, I brought a little quiz. Yes. And age test. What's the sound? The sound of freedom. Yes, the modem handshake. The sound of us leaving reality to go to the internet. And now we have to kind of leave the internet to go to reality. But yes, this was the sound of the internet. I have a couple more questions. How do you end a call on a B3 Razor? Is it A, whisper to it? Close it shut with a snap, remove the battery, or blow into it like a Nintendo cartridge? Number 3, what does to burn a CD mean? To set it on fire, to copy music onto it, to trade it for someone else's CD, or to listen to it until the songs scratch? The correct answer is letter B. Yes. Ooh, that's how we used to talk to girls. Make a CD. I was thinking of you. Yes, that was the way to be romantic back then. Number 4, which of these songs was not from the 2000s? Umbrella, umbrella. I'm not even going to try to sing that. That was bad. But yeah. I think I'm 0 for 2 here. Smells Like Teen Spirit or Lose Yourself by Eminem. But which of these was not from the 2000s? The correct answer is Smells Like Teen Spirit. It was older. And our last question, what did you do at Blockbuster? Too many students got this wrong. But did you rent DVDs and VHS tapes, train and battle Pokemon, grab a drink and listen to music, or watch the newest music videos on MTV? And if you said letter A, you are absolutely correct. It was an excellent Friday night. You stopped by a Blockbuster, ordered some pizza. It was a good time. Now, team, I want you to keep your 2000s memories in mind while we go over the haves and the has. And the way I'm doing this today is with some comparisons. First one we have to do is between the present perfect and the past simple. And I think this is important. Notice how here present and here past. So while we might be talking about even the same event, the past simple means that even generally, you know when something happened. And what do I mean by generally? That time, a long time ago, in the past, when I was younger. So it's very general. Of course, it can be like Sunday on the 23rd, the other day, on Tuesday, whatever it is. But the present perfect, all you know is that it was before the present. So whenever we have these pretty basic sentences, what I mean by that, there's no extra time expressions. I want you to understand before the present. I have been to Mexico. I don't know when. I have been to Mexico 20 times. I still don't know when. I just know that it was before now. And the words that you can use, like the limit would be like, I've been to Mexico before. It's like in the negative, I haven't been somewhere until now, I guess. But we're very limited. And here, when I was younger, I picked this on purpose. It's very vague, but it counts. That's the past. So what will happen is we will often use this present perfect for A, just basic statements, yes or no. I have done this. I haven't done this. We will also use it for questions, because if I don't know if you did it, how will I know when you did it? So, have you been to Mexico? And said, oh, yes, I have. I went to Mexico last year. You'll notice that the have disappears when you go into more detail. So, team, have you ever watched MTV? Good times. It was the coolest television channel ever. Just to turn it on and hope for your music video would play. When was the last time? Too long. I don't know. Many, many, many years ago. Probably saw it in Brazil, but I remember in the United States. I'm going to go about 20 years. Comparison number 2, present perfect simple versus the present perfect continuous. Team, you can often use both. And I would say, I'm going to go right to the main difference. Main difference, I've lived in Brazil for 20 years. You do not know if I will continue living. I have been living in Brazil for 20 years. It's right there in the name, continuous. I plan on continuing. It's number 1. Number 2, state verbs. This is an annoying one because I have to say should instead of can't. In the past, there were words like, love, hate, all of those about feelings. They didn't have ing forms. So we didn't really say I was liking something. Imagine João meets Maria and says, oh, I am liking you. What does that mean? That tomorrow you're not going to be liking her? So it's something kind of new. I want to say Zuckerberg started this with Facebook. But in general, we avoid state verbs in the ing form. I'll give you an example where you can't use it. Knowing. So I have known Maria a long time, but you can't say I have been knowing. It's not an action. I guess you could say I've been getting to know, like, oh, every day I learn something new about Maria. But we don't have an ing form for know. So that's limitation. Well, that's the first limitation, but that's point number 2. And point number 3, which is tiny, when I say I have lived in Brazil for 20 years, it's a fact. So you kind of go, okay, all right. But if you say I have been living in Brazil for 20 years, you imagine the act of living, which would be like driving and yelling at people in traffic and working and going to school and going to the bakery and making food and sleeping, actual living. So that's the difference number 3. Now, some of my students will often raise their hand at this point and say, oh, but how will I know if this was 20 years in the past or 20 years now, 20 years starting now? And remember, it's the present perfect. So as soon as we give a time expression, today, it's we're in September 2025, and then take 20 years back. If I were saying that I lived in Brazil 20 years, for 20 years, I lived in the US for 17 years. Now, I didn't include this have because it was in the past. It's done. It's over. I'm not living here now. So when I say I have lived in Brazil by itself, maybe it was at a certain point in my life before now. But as soon as I added the 420 years, since 2005, something like this, you understand that it is until now. So that's point number 2. What's something you've done since the 2000s? I have lived in Brazil since the 2000s. What have you been doing recently that you didn't back then? I have been going to the gym. I was a skinny dude. I used to swim, but I was pretty skinny. Present perfect continuous versus present continuous. This is the smallest difference. And in most cases, you can use both. I am reading Leave Me Alone and I'll Make You Rich. I have been reading Leave Me Alone, I'll Make You Rich. They're both right. The book's all right. I'll leave a review next week. But currently, now I am reading. Currently, at the moment, I'm reading a page in Leave Me Alone, I'll Make You Rich every day. Recently, I have. I've been reading it since last month. I've been reading it for 3 weeks, whatever it is. So if we're talking about before now, you need to have. It's a little bit different than in between English and Portuguese. In Portuguese, I can say, I am reading Leave Me Alone, I'll Make You Rich since, but you cannot do this in English. All right, so just match it. Now, no have. Before now, have. Number 4, this is the biggest problem that my students had, was between the present perfect and the past perfect. And what's important to remember is that they give you this information right here in the name. Present perfect is before the present. Past perfect, before the past. Now, what I mean by this? So let's say I went to Bahia last year. And I say I went to Bahia 2,000 years ago. Yes, it's a long time. I'm old. I'm kidding. But what I want to show you is that for grammar purposes, it does not make a difference. I went today, yesterday, this morning, yesterday, 10 years ago, 2,000 years ago. To grammar, it means the same thing. But if I say I went to Bahia in April, and I say I had never been there before, I'm talking about before April. And then it makes a difference. And that's where we need this had. And English is a language of signals. So when you see this have, not like I have a pen, I mean have as an auxiliary before another verb, have studied, have played, have watched, you know that it's before now. But when you see had, your brain receives a signal that it's before something that has happened. So if I say I have studied for the test has not happened yet. But if I say I had studied for the test, just because you have the had studied, you know we have another point in the past, which in this case is the test. So it's almost like a train stopping at a point before the present. So I have never, as soon as you get that have never, you know it's until now, no matter what I say. I have never been to China. I have never played beach tennis. I have never watched Peaky Blinders. So all of these things, you know it's until the present. As soon as I said I had never, you know that I've done it because there's going to be that pause somewhere before the present. So up until now, everything that we saw was a rule. What I mean by a rule, the grammar gods have said, yay, this is right, and nay, this is wrong. But this last one is a tool. It is extra. It is something that you can use. And in today's weekly meeting digital world, I think it is appropriate. So we have another version of a separation between the present perfect and past simple, specifically when you want to make something from the past feel more present. If I say I lost my phone, it's in the past. You lost it. Somebody took it and has sold it and is happy, and you will not get another phone back. Hopefully you had insurance. But if I say I've lost my phone, I still don't know where it is, but I'm bringing it into the present. What I mean by this, I still think I can find it. So if I say I've lost my phone, oh, can you call it for me just to see where it is? I used to use this example with keys back then. And another one, I arrived from Santiago yesterday. No action is needed. I've arrived. Come pick me up. And where do I think this is relevant is with, for example, these weekly meetings. So if I'm always bad at giving corporate examples, but if I said, I've finished the report, what I mean by including this maybe I did this last week, but as soon as I say the it's like I'm ready for the next step. Here it is. Take a look. This is new information. So you can use this to turn something more present. Some 2000 slang, not many good ones. I was amazed by how many ways of just saying cool. I still think cool is cooler than these ones. But talk to the hand was a popular one back then by less fresh people. Faux shizzle, Snoop Dogg original. For sure, you use this for confirmation and a bunch of other little slang words. This one about the deal. I use this all the time. I did not realize this was slang. I thought this was just traditional. And team, our talking point, Y2K, the 2000s. This was me. Yes, I was not a very cool person. Very skinny. I needed more muscle, more bench presses. But I also brought this. Steve Jobs introduces the iPhone. I think it was one of the greatest product releases. Since then, Apple has done nothing but raise their prices. But so this was one of the probably the points history will remember in the future, at least in my opinion. So find a tight story straight from the beginning of the 2000s, include at least 3 halves, like we saw in class, and 3 slang words from above. You know what I mean? Team, that's what I've got. Like always, thank you, and I hope to see you in class. Have a good one.